It's nice for those of us who couldn't attend to get a taste of the events and all of the fun. And I kind of miss it, you know. I'm gonna shut my door. So I think my name is Nick, although some people think it's Tim. I'm starting to get confused. But I'm here for you for your easy and fun questions or anything that you want to talk about. And I'm sorry that we don't have class, you know, but let's all just hope that Word is feeling better soon. I think he's okay. I think he's just not feeling well. And so here we go. We'll have a Q&A instead. If you guys have questions. If you don't, I'll go have some candy canes and continue with my Christmas preparations. So when I do Q&A, I am super happy if you want to open your microphone and talk. I'm also super happy if you want to put questions in the chat, either way. Chloe almost, oh, there we go. She says, what are the two? Chloe asked me a question.
老师好，
你好，你们有问题吗？哦，
有问，
有问题. Okay, hold on. I'll say what I was going to say and then you can go, okay? Chloe put a question in the chat that said, what are the two karmic causes of the qualities of a qualified lama? This is a really specific question. And the fact that I don't know if you can hear me, Chloe, but the fact that you specified two karmic causes, it sounds like you already know what they are, and maybe we want to discuss them. Otherwise, I'll take a shot at it, what I think it might be, but I'm not aware of the very specific. Okay. I don't know that there are two specific. So since I don't know that there are two, I probably don't know what they are, or my guess might be informed by having heard it a long time ago, but I don't remember ever hearing that there is two specific causes of a qualified lama. We can come back to that if I don't have other questions, but since I don't know, I'm going to move to, I think, Violet's question. And I'm going to join the English channel, so I hope our Chinese interpreter will be able to interpret the question from Chinese into English for me.
我可以说话吗？谢谢，
可以。
圣诞节快乐，
Okay.
老师。
Hi, Merry Christmas, teacher.
我有两个问题，第一
I
个
have
我
two
想请问老师，
questions. First
为
one,
什么在瑜伽的
why
赖
is
人
it
唱圣
that
里面
in
每
yoga
音呢没有
concept
主
when
题
we are
的唱诵？
chanting,
这是第一。
there's a bijaz
第二个
chanting,
问题
but
是，
for this
我想请问
chakra
老师，
here, Ajna chakra, there's no
伴
such
侣练
bijaz.
习，也
That's the
就
first
是
question.
瑜伽里面的伴
Okay,
侣练
second
习，如
question.
果学友
In yoga, when we
是单
practice
身，在世
Sanskrit,
俗层面没有
when
一
we
个固
learn
定的伴侣，
any
他还能
specific
够
term,
进
oh,
行这个
sorry,
练习吗？
she meant
谢谢老师。
relationship
Thank
practice,
you.
partner practice. In yoga, partner practice, if we don't have any partner at the moment, still can we do this practice?
Okay. I will try to answer your questions as best I can. Thank you, 谢谢你. First question, you asked about the bijas. And it's funny, it's been so long since I studied that. I wonder if there's anyone here who remembers. In the best of my recollection, and I'll look it up, I thought there is a seed syllable for the Ajna chakra. I just don't remember what it is. It might be hung. Hung, 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 hung. But now I don't remember. So if there was anybody who studied Lady Naguma The Ajna chakra, this one, the third eye she's talking about. Sorry. So in the study of yoga asana and something that Geshe Michael taught along with when he was teaching yoga, he taught this system called Lady Naguma's yoga, which is incredible. A system of yoga where you're using your mind to kind of focus on the specific chakra or choke point that you're working on while you're doing the yoga asanas. And it's amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful system. And I used to do it every day, forwards and backwards. Sometimes I would do the practice starting with my crown chakra and then working my way down. Somebody says, Luca says, in Lady Naguma 1, there is no bija sound for ajna and hung is for sahasrara. Okay. I would venture to guess that there is one, but I don't know. And maybe we didn't practice it in Lady Naguma's yoga. But anyway, when we warm up for the practice, sometimes we would chant a certain seed syllable for each chakra. And each chakra is like a choke point, right? It's like a knot where the side channels twist around the central channel in our subtle energetic body. And we're in this practice of Lady Naguma's yoga, we're doing everything we can to try to loosen those knots, including, breath, visualization, and twisting or stretching and doing different exercises to move the energy and try to loosen the knots so that the energy flows more freely through our central channel. I would encourage everybody to try to find some practice that works for them to help that happen because it's amazing. And while I cannot answer this question because I don't remember, it's been so long, Luca says there are teachings for the Ajna chakra in Lady Naguma level 2. So perhaps somebody can find that information and post it in the chat if there is in fact a seed syllable, a bija for the Ajna chakra. I don't know. But Luca, if you have the PDF, you can take a look in there. If you have the document, maybe Geshe Michael has put it in there. That would be cool. But yeah. So, and then the other part of your question was, can you do partner practice without a partner? You can, you can. And you have to learn from a qualified teacher how to do that. So that's not really like a topic that this is the appropriate venue for us to discuss. And it's a long discussion, but it is possible, absolutely, to do various types of practices that you could do with an actual physical partner or with visualization and deep understanding. So I think the answer is get really good at meditation and work on having incredibly strong focus. And you can do anything that's, any type of yoga in your mind. You don't necessarily need to have a partner, but I think it's great either way. And find a qualified teacher to share those types of ideas with you, because that's from like the secret teachings. Okay, now we're getting some questions, but also Rach has her hand raised. So you go ahead and then I'll check into some of these questions in the chat, but I'm going to prioritize people who raise their hands.
The questions. I realize I make lousy reasoning all day long. How can I know if my reasoning is a good reasoning, airtight reasoning? Any rules for this? The one that I have in mind is ACI2, that I learned about the 3 relationships. Is this the only one of the rules that I use as a good reasoning, or is there any other airtight reasoning that I can rely upon? Thank you very much.
That is the main method of logic that we use. So you're asking about airtight reasoning. I'm just going to clarify for people who might not know exactly what we're talking about. In our tradition, we have a practice of debate where we use quote unquote airtight reasoning to prove a point intellectually. We use logic, and it's amazing. And it's one of the most powerful things I've ever learned in my life. It's incredible. And there is a concept in there called the three relationships. And the three relationships relate to three parts of a logical statement. So I'm going to review it super quick because you brought it up and we're covering it all the time in the Mixed Nuts. And if you want to learn more deeply on this, you'll have to come to a class, which many of us are happy to teach, very happy. But three parts of a logical statement. There's a subject, meaning the thing you're talking about, a phone. Okay, consider a phone. An assertion means something that you would like to prove about the phone. Okay, the phone is black. And then you give a reason. That's the third part. So three parts of a logical statement. Well, the phone is black because I can see black when I look at it. All right, I'm not trying to think of a good example right now. I'm just trying to share. So that's three parts of a logical statement: subject, the assertion, the reason. And then there's three relationships between those three parts. Okay, first one, I'll teach you two of them right now because the third one doesn't, I'll mention it. First one, is it true? Is the reason true about the subject? I said, the reason it's black is because I look at it and I see black. Is it true that I look at this phone? Yes. And that I see black? Yep, it's true. Okay, that's the first part. The second part, does that reason prove the assertion? Okay, so first one is it true of the subject? Is it true of this phone that I can look at it? Yes. Second one, is it true that if I look at something and I see it being black, that means it's black? Actually, it is. Yes. So does the reason prove the quality that we're proving about, that we're trying to prove about the subject? It does. I mean, if it's airtight, if it's correct reason. The third one is if it's not true, if the assertion is not true, is the reason not true? Okay. If this phone is not black, then is it the case that if I look at it, I will not see black? That also passes that test. Is that a good way to find that you are arriving at airtight logic? Absolutely. It's amazing. It's incredible. You don't even need the third test. Just the first two. Okay. Just using those can change your life. And if you're finding, Rach, is that how you say your name?
Yes.
If you're finding that you're having lousy logic all day, I would challenge you to really check if you're understanding and applying this idea of breaking a logical statement into three parts and applying those relationships. And I do not know of another particular way. I'm sure there are other methodologies of developing logical statements. I happen to, have focused much of my life on this path, both, the spiritual path and the dialectical philosophical study of it. So this is what I know about. I think that there are probably other dialectics, methods of dialectics of generating logical statements. But from what I understand, none of it really varies much from what we just described. And I've never heard, and I studied math and science extensively earlier in my life, and I've never seen any logical system that is somehow superior than this so far. So that's my answer for that. And so I challenge you to just use that and make sure you're really practicing and understand the way the three relationships work, at least the first two of the three relationships. And take a debate class if you have a chance. It's amazing. Okay, I saw some questions in the chat. Somebody else had their hand up too, but let's see. My favorite proof of emptiness after the pen, Alexander Galimov asks. That's easy. My favorite proof of emptiness is the one that they call the king of reasoning. It's really super simple. And, you know, I like simple. I like easy. So this proof of emptiness is just that things are empty because they depend on other things. Consider stuff. They don't exist through any nature of it. Considers things. They don't exist through any nature of their own because they all depend upon other things. That's a three-part logical statement. Is it true of, so let's run the three relationships. Is it true? This is for Rach to practice. Consider things. Okay, that's the first element of the logical statement. They're empty of existing through their own nature. That's the assertion. The reason is because they depend on other things. So run the first test. You with me, Rach? What's the first test?
The first and the third will be
The first. Yeah,
the
good.
subject and the reason.
Yeah, is the reason true of the subject?
Yeah, but is it
So,
true? Yes.
Can you say it? Like, is what true? Do things?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole thing just now.
Okay, it's okay. Is it true of things? Is it true of things that they depend upon other things? Okay.
Okay.
Is it true of things that they do? Is it true of stuff? Does everything depend on other things?
Okay.
And
So
if you
I will say, consider the things. They depend on other things. Is it right? Because
well, then we could try to prove that. But
yeah.
the king of reasoning proof is consider things.
Yes.
They don't have any nature of their own. They're empty
Okay.
because they depend upon other things.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Because they exist in dependence upon other things. So the first test is it true of things that they exist in dependence upon other things?
The things, yeah.
I would say it is true. Like things, and I'm not going to get super into the philosophy there, but you can do the foundational course 1, and we discussed it in some detail that everything depends on other things. Changing things obviously depend upon other things. They have causes and conditions. Unchanging things still have parts that they depend on. And so, okay. So
yeah, I get it actually. I know about the three relationship.
good.
Yeah, if the one and the three, then three, if three, then two. If not two, then it's not three. Right.
So with the king of reasoning, can you give me the second relationship in words?
Okay, I try. If things depend on other things, then they don't have any nature of their own.
Perfect. Is it true?
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. If something depends upon something else, that's the definition of something not I mean, like, you know, by definition, it can't have its own nature because, you know, what it would mean, something that has its own nature doesn't exist, but what it would mean for something to have its own nature would mean that it exists on its own, all alone, without anything else. So first of all, Rach, that was awesome. And it's hard. What's your first language, Rach?
Chinese.
Chinese. Okay. So yeah. And we're having this conversation in English. So that's super hard. And I really appreciate your ability to do that. Amazing. I mean, your English sounds very good, but this stuff is super hard to do in another language. Cool. So that's my favorite proof of emptiness. Different schools say they depend on different things. That's right. Fun. And if you don't know how things depend on other things, that's something that you have to think about. And if you think that you can find something that doesn't depend on anything else, write me. I want to know. I want to debate it with you. I want to discuss. Is anyone teaching debate? The classes come around pretty frequently. I'll announce any debate classes in the mix nuts. Yes. Do all things really depend on other things? Is this true? I would say yes. I would say absolutely. But you have to investigate that for yourself. What about something that doesn't exist? I would say that if something doesn't exist, then that's true. It doesn't depend on anything because it doesn't exist. Margie says space doesn't depend on anything else. That's a good one, Margie. According to the logic of the Svatantrika school, the lower half of the middle way, or logic, space depends on its parts to be space. Like space, if you have to define a unit of space, then it depends upon, this is just one thing that space depends on. Space depends on up, down, left, right. It's nice to hear from you, Margie. It's been years. I hope you're well. Yeah, so space has parts. Okay, let me look at some more. Tim is teaching ACI 13, Janet says. That's cool. There's a debate class in there. If something doesn't exist, how could it depend on anything? Okay. Can the reflection of the moon in the water be used in this way? The moon in the sky is created by the seed of my kindness to others. That's nice. So the reflection shows my real life. And I hope that a noble person become a leader and join my big health industry. It means helping others to become other big health business teams and become noble people. Oh, sorry. I didn't understand this question. I thought I was going to. It sounds great. We're talking about things being a reflection of our actions and that we create the world that we experience with the seeds that we plant with our actions, what we do, say, and think. I'm turning my light on, sorry. That's much better. Sorry, if somebody wants to help translate that question differently, I will try if there's a question there.
Teacher, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can I try to just explain to you? I think he's trying to say that he's doing health business. So if I help other people so that they are also in this health industry, so that I can see myself getting some help, like a beneficial helping me in my health industry as well. Basically, that's the idea. So just the moon thing is just an example leading to the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That good?
I think so. So it seems like a very straightforward question. That says, if I want to succeed in my business, which is in the health industry, which that's awesome that you have a business taking care of people's health. That's already very beautiful. And I believe hopefully plants many amazing seeds. And it's a hard business. If you support somebody else with a similar business, will that help your business? Yes. I mean, that's the idea. The idea that we're talking about here, when we talk about emptiness and seeds, is that nothing has any nature of its own. Things are dependent on other things. And at the deepest, most subtle level, what things are really dependent on is your mind. And actually, according to the Madhyamaka Prasangika, the highest middle way school, that's the only thing things are dependent upon to be what they are. So nothing is anything other than what story your mind projects it to be. It has no nature of being anything in particular separate from the story of what your mind is telling it to be. So that's emptiness, okay? And dependence is the fact that your mind is creating that story. And we see from old books that the way that your mind is forced to project whatever particular story it does is based on what you have done, said, and thought in the past. And that's what we mean when we talk about seeds. And I know everybody has heard this a million times, but it's impactful to hear it again and again. So if you have a health business and you want to see if you're able to tweak your reality, or you have to plant the seeds in your own mind to project forth a reality that you would like to see and experience. If you would like to see a successful health business, you have to do some kind of action in the world to plant a seed in your mind that will ripen, and then you will see yourself having a successful health business. And according to my teacher and what I've learned, the best and fastest way to do such a thing is to support somebody with a similar type of business or endeavor. So there's many things you can probably do to plant seeds to have a successful health industry business. And I suggest you try all of them. But yes, certainly supporting others in their quest would be in their business that's similar would be a very direct and great way to plant that kind of seed. Somebody asks, this is kind of cool. In the last class, we said that there is no self nature. So why do some words have specific high or low energy when they're tested? Like when you stick different words on the outside of water, certain things will change the shape of water. Okay, so there's a famous book. I think it was a Japanese photographer or scientist or somebody. This was a few years back. He took pictures of water molecules and the way they crystallize when they're exposed to certain words and certain emotions and different kind of frequencies and things like that. And it's super cool. He made a book of these pictures. Some people claimed it was all fake. I have no idea. All I'm saying is, to answer your question, which I think is a good question, if words don't have any nature of their own, then why do they exhibit different properties when you test them? And the answer is annoyingly simple. Just because something has no nature of its own does not on any level mean that it doesn't function. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, I would love to get mystical and talk about the energy of the words. And if somebody calls me a bad name with a word, if you call me a bad name, if right now somebody interrupts me with words and says that I'm wrong and I'm stupid, I will probably get mad. Okay, like it will function to hurt me. That word has no nature of its own. And then I'll put it in a nicer way. That's what my wife would, if she were here, she would tell me, why don't you say it in a nice way? If somebody were to interrupt me and tell me how handsome and wonderful I am, it would probably make me feel really good. If I see hearts and diamonds in the chat, Teacher Nick, I love you, whatever. I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying those hearts and diamonds or whatever they are, they have no nature of their own, but they function to change the feelings inside my heart and change my mood. It's amazing. And they have no nature of their own. And so I think, first of all, a good starting point for our discussion is to get rid of any idea that we have in our minds that just because something doesn't have any nature of its own, that it shouldn't perform any kind of function. Things do function. They have no nature of their own, and they work based on causes. And at the highest level, they work based on the causes that we have put in our minds, based on the way that we've treated people and treated ourselves, okay? Geshe Michael always says how we treat others, which I think is very important, but also how we treat ourselves. It also plants seeds. Just a side note. But so the reason those words do have power is because we have seeds for words to have power. The reason it would make me feel happy if somebody said something nice to me, oh, look at all those hearts and diamonds. I feel so happy. Look at that. I had to scroll down. See, look at that. That's a genuine smile. And somebody said, you guys love me. Oh, I'm touched. So it really made me happy. I feel happier, and I can share that with you. And that's a beautiful thing. And then we get to plant good seeds with each other. So I planted seeds. I say nice things to people all the time. I mean it to varying degrees, but usually I mean it, actually. Usually I mean it. And I planted seeds by doing that. When I say nice things, every day I wake up and I have a 5-year-old daughter, as you all know by now. And I tell her, you are amazing. You are just this incredible beam of light in the world. Every day I wake up and I tell her that. And so, because she is, and she deserves to hear that. And I also think that that's going to help her in life to have that foundation of knowing how amazing she is. And we all should have that. Anyway, that's why I get to feel happy when I see the diamonds that you guys put in the chat, because I plant seeds, or I have planted seeds of helping other people to feel good with my words and my diamonds and hearts and pictures and whatever. So it's just seeds, So the reason that the words make the water change shape on the bottle when the Japanese photographer takes pictures of them is because you planted seeds for words to have different kinds of power. How did you plant the seeds for words to have different kind of power? I have no idea. Maybe somehow, this is a very, very interesting topic to talk about linguistics and how does the human mind form language and how do we, put meaning into that language. It's fascinating. And what kind of seeds did we plant that we live in a world where we have language that can communicate our feelings? Probably really good seeds of helping other people to communicate with each other, or helping, ways, because a lot of animals don't have language. Most animals don't have language. Dolphins do. Today, I saw a dolphin jump like 5 feet out of the ocean and dive right back in. It was like 10 feet away from me. I just wanted to tell you that. It was amazing. It was huge. It was so scary, but it was awesome. It was so huge. Anyway, they have language. So how do words have meaning? I don't know. We did some kind of crazy, cool karma, some seeds in the past that we get to have language. Why do we live in a world where the language are split and we don't all speak the same language? Maybe there's a little bit of a bad seed in the good seed, like how wonderful it would be if we all just spoke the same language. but then I wouldn't have a job. I'd have a different job. So all the seeds that we have in our world are kind of mixed, right? Like they have a touch of good, a touch of bad, because that's the nature of the world that we live in. What's cool, what I find very promising, and I'm sure many of you have thought about this, is that we are closer and closer every day to living in a world where even though we speak different languages, we can all communicate with each other immediately. While speaking different languages, we can still communicate. Right now, we are doing that. I'm speaking English. Most of you are hearing me in Chinese or whatever, Russian, or Spanish. So that's amazing. So we have a really good seed, actually. We have this incredible seeds that we're close to all being able, at least having the capacity to understand each other any moment. And there's apps that I can put on my phone where I can just walk up to somebody. I don't speak Chinese, a little bit, but not much. Not enough. Okay. But I can still walk up to somebody and be like, how do I order a pizza? Or I want to order a pizza. And then I just my phone will say, whatever in your language. And it will be immediate. It's amazing. Somebody once said, why don't we have good seeds? Why don't we have the seeds to fly? How amazing would that be? And I was like, yeah, you do. You don't even have to get the bugs in your face. You get to sit back and have a drink and watch a movie while you fly. It's not so bad, So anyway. What else? Oh, dolphin jump. Somebody's asking me about the dolphin. Yes, I was on the surfboard. It was huge waves today. Probably the biggest I've ever been in. And there was dolphins all around me. And then this one jump. It was, I've never while a huge wave was coming. Never seen that. Okay, more questions. Oh, here we go. Sabrina, we are already flying. Yeah, Tim's flying right now. I'm Nick. Okay, gray beard, light brown hair. Nick. Okay, Tim, blonde hair, no beard, glasses. Okay, that's Tim. No, okay. So Tim's in an airplane right now. Okay, he's sitting on a chair, sipping a beverage. He's flying to Pennsylvania to go hang out with his family. Okay, Nick, one syllable, sounds like Tim, different guy. Okay, anyway. Let's see. What seeds can make our beloved teacher stay with us forever? Beautiful. You're going to make me cry. I think of the harmony of the monastic community, following the teachings and practicing according to the teacher's teachings. Teacher, what are my understandings that we can sow? Thank you. Very beautiful, sweet question. Oh, and that looks like a fun one. As far as I understand it, and I'm sure many of you here have heard this before, harmony, just getting along with each other makes the teacher stay. Just getting along with each other, being kind to each other, especially amongst our Dharma group, being kind to everybody, okay? Practicing what they are teaching you. So just try that, okay? Right now, we seem to be stuck in this human condition, which is hard. We all seem to be stuck in these human bodies. Look, if you guys who know me haven't seen me in a couple of years, I didn't used to look like this. I wasn't all gray. Okay, this happened recently. So right now, we all seem to be in this condition to me, from what I'm seeing, we all seem to be in these bodies that are getting older. I don't know. I don't know how that relates, Can we project a world where we don't see that? Absolutely. What seems to be the cause for us to project our teacher who will live longer forever. It's kindness. Right now, I'm thinking of it as how you put it, as really beautiful, just that our dear teachers will stay with us forever. So that's the best. Be nice. Somebody said, are there causes that are in the future rather than in the past? That's a trippy question. I have no idea how that would work. Maybe. I don't know. It comes back to like, I don't think it works that way for us. Maybe if you get enlightened, then you're not stuck in time the way that we are stuck in time currently. I don't know. I don't understand that kind of, because I can't wrap my head around what would be outside of linear time. I believe that maybe there is a way to expand your mind to understand something beyond the existence of linear time. I don't live in that world, but it sounds really cool. So Elva has a question. Elva has her hand up. So go ahead, please.
Thank you, teacher. 我想问一个有关就是践行的问题。
This is about practice. For example, if I finish something, some action, I can work on the motivation level. So, for example, I'm thinking that I'm helping them. Oh, okay. When I wash dishes, I can think like I'm washing off all the beings, purifying all their bad seeds. But can I work on the emptiness level? Like on the emptiness level, can I do it as the motivation level? For example, whatever action that I'm doing, I can make it onto a motivation level and also incorporate emptiness in it. Am I clear enough?
Yes, I think I understand your question. It sounds pretty straightforward. When you're washing dishes and you're thinking about that you're cleaning the bad seeds from all beings or something like that, is it more powerful if you think about the emptiness of them? Is that what you're asking?
Oh, sorry. 是的，我是从两个层面。
Yes,
One is
I'm talking about these two
motivation,
different
another is
levels. One is motivation, the other one is emptiness.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful question. I think it's a great thing to talk about. I don't feel that you need to hear anything from me about it because it sounds like you're already doing it. And so, just to answer just to kind of bring up what you're saying, this is amazing. Like when we have the mindfulness to like just practice all day long, especially those of us who are not like living in a Dharma center, or, like those of us who don't have constant like Dharma projects to do. If we can use our minds to every time we do even mundane tasks, remember, like use it as an opportunity to be practicing. That's amazing. And I think that that's part of the key to becoming enlightened quickly is to keep your mind in that state. So if you're like washing dishes and thinking about you're taking the impurities away from all beings and you're washing dishes with that motivation, that's like probably like one of the best things you could possibly do in the whole world. So that's amazing. So having that motivation, so in that moment, your washing dishes might be planting a more powerful seed than like somebody who's like, saving someone else's life. Maybe, I'm just like, whatever, maybe not that, but maybe, like because your motivation is so big. So the more you can kind of factor in, from how I understand it, the more we can factor in like helping everybody in the whole universe to be happy and free, the more powerful our actions will be. So even something like washing the dishes can be a super powerful action, both like in your mind, just because of the seeds you plant, but also practically speaking, because if you have this kind of mindset while you're doing the dishes, it's developing you to be a cool, calm, kind person because you're practicing this mindset. And that's going to help you be kinder to the next person. And then that ripples, you get this ripple effect. Your kindness is changing the world. Your practice of this motivation and kindness is changing the world through rippling out to other people. That's amazing. Yeah, it's much more powerful from what I understand, it's much more powerful with a strong understanding of emptiness. Specifically, what we were just talking about, this higher middle way, Nagarjuna perspective that we were just learning about in Venerable Utpala's text, that like the world that we experience is coming from, ultimately, it's dependent upon our actions. So if we understand that, then we know that we're planting a seed by washing the dishes with a high motivation, and that knowledge of how things work reinforces your ability to plant positive seeds consciously. So that's the best understanding I have about why understanding emptiness makes these seeds ripen faster. There's some discussion of this, how our understanding of emptiness helps us in some of the DCI advanced levels, like advanced level 2. It's very interesting. I believe it because my life has been so amazing, and I have no idea why, other than the fact that I study emptiness a lot and try to do nice things with that understanding. So I think that's very helpful. Great question. Keep it up, Alva. Don't do anything differently.
Thank you, teacher. Very cool.
When talking about the 8 worldly thoughts, we must remain neutral. How is this different from one of the misunderstandings in the story of the pen, which is to remain neutral toward happiness and pain? Yeah, that's cool. It's a great question, a very great question. It's true. It's there. I can see how there's kind of a it almost seems like a contradiction, but I believe it's not. When we're talking about the 8 worldly thoughts, we're specifically talking about attachment, and very specifically, from a higher middle way perspective, when we talk about attachment, we're talking about believing that things have some nature of their own, and therefore, within the context of the 8 worldly thoughts, we're talking about attachment in the sense of believing that things have some nature of their own, and that therefore they would be responsible for my happiness or my sadness. So we're not, and so this is the big distinction that Geshe Michael is being careful to make when he talks about the pen. He's saying the point isn't to be neutral in the sense of not care if you're happy or sad. It just means to not be attached to being happy or sad, to think that there's some nature within those things. So the 8 worldly thoughts isn't telling you to not care about being happy or sad. It's to not believe that there is happiness or sadness in things. And the 8 worldly thoughts even goes further. And it says, you're right, it says not to be attached to being or happy or sad. But it doesn't mean don't want for happiness. It kind of means don't believe that there is some sort of longer term. This is how I take it. Don't believe that there's some sort of real happiness within a momentary happiness. Like, I love iced tea. Okay. When I drink iced tea, I'm happy because I like it. Is that nirvana? No. Does it seem like it? Kind of. Why? Because if I don't get my iced tea, I get pissed, like so if I get pissed, I'm like, I think that there's something in there that I have to have, and that's really going to make me happy. But it's okay for it to make me happy, and it's okay for me to enjoy that happiness. But there's a level of enjoyment where it's like that's understanding. And then there's a level where you kind of like are attached, where you think like, oh, that's the happiness that I need, as opposed to like, oh, that's cool. And to go deeper, attachment would mean to think that the iced tea has that happiness in it, or that happiness itself is nirvana, something like that. Attachment would be to think that happiness comes from anywhere other than the seeds that you planted in the past. So don't be attached to momentary happiness or momentary sadness that comes and go, because it's at the mercy, your mental state and your state of happiness or unhappiness is at the mercy of the seeds that are ripening in your mind based on the actions that you have planted in the past, that you have done in the past. So happiness and sadness are going to come, and you can't be like dependent on just staying happy all the time. But it's hard, and that's why the 8 worldly thoughts is like such an important and powerful teaching. I live in a place now. I live in Southern California, where it's easy to be happy all the time because everything's so pleasant. The weather, it's pretty, and it's easy to get attached to just being happy. You could almost call it being attached to comfort. I think comfort could be a good word that we could use when we're talking about the happiness being referred to in the 8 worldly thoughts. Momentary comfort. So the difference is it's okay to want happiness. Just make sure that from the depths of our being, we want real happiness, which is the kind that doesn't end. And that's what we're working toward. And the happiness that the 8 worldly thoughts is referring to is kind of like being attached to a momentary happiness and then yearning for that all the time. And then the problem is like if you just in a kind of ignorant way, you just always want things and you always want to be comfortable and you're always pushing away things that will make you uncomfortable. You're making a lot of seeds without thinking about it. You're unconsciously just creating seeds with your action. Okay, you're doing actions. This is the meaning of karma. Okay, actions specifically rooted in wanting to be away from things or wanting to get things. So it's a really important teaching. I hope that answered your question. If not, you can speak up or put something in the chat. Can't change your past. Oh, that's a nice question, Upala. I don't know. It's a good question. I think it's important to be able to rewrite the story. I don't know. Can something now change my past? Seems like it. Can something in the future change my present? It's a trippy thing to think about. Like, does the future exist already? Hard one to touch, but I like it. Okay, somebody has their hand up. Go ahead. I can't read your name, but you have a Chinese name and your hand is up. If you would like to, 可以,你有问题吗? Okay. 如果你要可以 let's see here. Looking for more questions. How to keep eyebrows open and smile as much as possible. I don't know what that means. Eyebrows open? Let's see. I saw another question about causes and conditions. Oh, here's an interesting question. Somebody said, how do I plant seeds on the ones who always tell my superiors about me? I'll just make one clarifying remark. We cannot plant a seed on someone else. We can only plant a seed in our mind. It's not like some kind of black magic where we can like plant a seed on somebody. That's probably not what you meant, but just so you know, just for the sake of clarity, we plant a seed in our own mind, then our world appears differently. So if you want to plant a seed to see your coworkers only say nice things about you to your superiors, then you have to plant the seed of only speaking nicely about other people. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. This is what we just taught my daughter. So that's how to plant the seeds that the people will tell your superiors nice things about you. Maybe you can plant the seeds to not have any superiors and run your own company. But it's that's another story. If you're worried about this kind of thing, you know. But don't tattletale on other people, I guess, unless it's something dangerous, in which case you should. As for eyebrows, I ask the person who cuts my hair to trim my eyebrows. I didn't understand the question. That's how I keep my eyebrows.
Hey, Teacher Nick, I think he meant don't frown so much. That's a special way to say in Chinese. It means don't frown so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry if I am, but how to not, I don't know. It's about time to go. One thing that's like true and is not super deep, but maybe we don't think about it enough, is the habit. Habits really can change your life. Right now, I have a shoulder injury, like pretty bad, and it's due to bad posture, or it's due to a lifetime of bad posture. So, is that coming from seeds? Yes. Does that mean I shouldn't try to correct my posture? Of course not. I'm going to try to correct my posture because I have the seeds to have learned that my problem is related to my posture. So my exercise is to set a timer that will go off every 30 minutes, and I will remember to lift my chest using my core strength. And it's already helping a little bit because I have good seeds, hopefully. And it's the same with smiling in a way, you know, just kind of start the habit of, you know, engaging that happiness and smiling, and it's okay. And it can help build a habit, and you can actually feel happier. I've heard Geshe Michael say this too. It's like it's even a yoga pose to like bring a smile. If you're having a hard time getting yourself to smile, I say think of it as an offering to your teachers, or to, you know, think of it as an offering to the world. Your smile, it's a beautiful thing. It makes everybody happy. So try it, you know, just set an alarm, I don't know, every 30 minutes, and then just smile. It will reroute the neural pathway. And if it helps, think of it as some kind of offering. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Great question. And I gotta go. So that was fun. Merry Christmas. 新年快乐. and all of the other things. So thank you all. Thanks for the diamonds and the hearts before. And be seeing you after Christmas at the next Xuanzang's Tower. All right. I'm going to stop the share. Whoops. Oh, I'm not. Okay. Whoops. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, translators. Thank you, Worldview Productions. Love you all.
Nick. 啥意思？
Thank you, sharing. Bye bye. Thanks, Nick.